The topics we discuss are many, no story too bold to talk about. Strictly our own opinions, but they are opinions from people like you. Welcome to the NAKE'd podcast. How's it going, everyone? This is Marco.
This is Ethan.
Keelan.
Norma.
DM Tech, I hear Alan.
Kamala Harris just introduced this more bill to expunge marijuana.
No, you just ruined it all. That bill is dead to me.
Oh, because she's the one who introduced it?
Oh my god.
Because it's Kamala Harris?
Yes. I don't trust her.
From New York?
Liz Warren?
No, she's from California.
No. She's backing it, but it was a Democrat from New York who introduced the bill.
Oh. But
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, no go.
So
Really?
there's a couple different things about that Moore bill. So what it's going to do is it's going to expunge people's records. It will decriminalize marijuana on a federal level, but states would still have the authority to do what they would like on whatever they please. So things like California and Colorado, who have legalized recreational use, their dispensaries can still get raided by the FBI because it's illegal on a federal level. Or ATF, right. So they can still get raided by the ATF on the federal level. But if this bill were to pass, that means that the ATF couldn't do that, and it'll be up to the state to decide if that's a right that they want to give their citizens. They'll also do a 5% sales tax on marijuana and put it into a trust fund. And that fund will, in turn, pay for underserved communities who have really felt the effects of the war on drugs and give them some type of resources.
So, coming from a conservative viewpoint on that, you had me up until, adding a tax onto it. Because the government's going to tax it already. What are they going to run it at? Because Colorado taxes, if I believe, is like 28%.
Yeah.
So if I read it right, it's not an additional 5%. It's 5% of the money that they get from the tax.
So, but what would the tax be?
The tax, it's 5% for all marijuana
I understand
sales.
the 5%.
Okay.
I can understand simple numbers.
So wouldn't
I'm
it
saying,
be-
what is the total tax that the government would be taxing a cannabis dispensary?
Wouldn't it be the state's tax?
Yeah.
No, it's
If it's legalized by the federal government, then they can have their own tax, while the state can have their own tax as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you're opening the door for taxes upon taxes upon taxes. Look at cigarettes. So cigarettes has what a pack of cigarettes used to be $4, but they've taxed it so much it's up to like $7 now. Mm-hmm. So are they going to do that to marijuana?
Yeah, and this bill is actually expected to have an uphill battle to fight. It has most of the Democratic support except for one person, but on the flip side of it, it's probably going to die in the Senate because of that tax reason. Another benefit that this bill would have would be that veterans can now... physicians who are affiliated with the VA, they can recommend medical cannabis as treatment for people who have PTSD, pain management, and anxiety.
And
That's
my
a good
experience
idea.
talking to veterans, that most of them are for it. They just say screw it because they're on a pill cocktail and they don't want to be on it. I'll take a hit. I'm good.
Or like a pill or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that there's some really good things here. I'm really concerned about that 5% tax because it's still unclear, especially being introduced by Kamala Harris. She has been vehemently against recreational use of marijuana. She opposed that bill when she was in California, and now she's altering her stance while she's on the national level. So, I mean, I know we're going to talk about politics.
And also sorry. But no, I didn't.
So I was just saying, when we talk about DNC candidates, like we did in episode 7.
I'm going deep.
In episode 7, that we couldn't really trust the candidates that the DNC had. This is another reason why Kamala Harris doesn't have my support or trust.
She doesn't have my trust because she was caught with holding people in jail with drug charges and putting them through extra steps just so that she can use them for certain projects in the prison system. So she was holding on to them for more labor, and she was extending the sentences of drug users. You know what I mean? So why are we going to trust her to lead the charge on recreational marijuana?
Maybe it was a volunteer
No,
thing.
it wasn't. She's taken a lot of slack for it.
I watched this clip from CNN, I think, and one of her correspondents, one of the reporters that's working with her campaign, the reporter asked her, well, Camilla has proposed this before in her own state. So why has she flipped her stance? And the reporter just stuttered and
because she doesn't sweat.
like Prince Andrew, apparently. Did you guys watch that interview?
Yes, I had to.
I watch bits and pieces.
I've always been
Franco.
suspected of him ever since Princess Diana or
Diana.
Princess Diana.
Woo.
I can't say it.
You got it, baby.
Diana.
I'll put my tinfoil hat on. And I think, maybe this was some of the reason why they offed her.
I would be.
Oh, fuck.
I would really
That's
be
some
interested.
that's some hardcore conspiracy right there.
So the memes will be rolling out. Princess Diana didn't die in the car crash.
Or she did die in the car crash, and it was
Hashtag her brakes were cut.
it was done by Epstein.
So an update on
Epstein didn't kill himself, but he did kill Princess Diana.
Yikes. He also took a lot of livelihood away from young girls.
Oh,
So an
Nice, man.
update on his case, actually.
I'm sad now.
The two guards who were supposedly watching Epstein, they have been charged with.
You mean the one guard and the one part-time rental worker?
Rental worker? They were actually working overtime. What was their name? Hold on.
Let me guess. They were tired.
They're pinky in the brain.
well, they were
Oh,
caught
okay.
sleeping.
So it's two guards, Tova Knoll and Michael Thomas. They're charged with falsifying their reports to check the appearance of Epstein, and they were not following protocol. The surveillance that they had didn't show anybody in there. But I mean, conspiracy time, tinfoil hat time. If Epstein didn't kill himself, of course there's not going to be footage of these guards going to go check on him.
Well, there
course
couldn't be
not.
footage because the 3 cameras that faced his cell, they had no video off of. They weren't working. They were down for maintenance or whatever.
So
Seriously?
Yeah, well, I don't know what, but so they said the camera facing his cell and it had issues. The other one, for some reason, was tweaked just enough to where it would catch people in the hallway, but it couldn't see into his cell. And then the other one was again, they couldn't get usable pictures off of it.
the whole fucking conspiracy.
I'm just really glad somebody's actually pursuing this and looking into it, and they're charging these people, and they're really finding out what happened instead of all of this just getting swept under the rug, which tends to happen in America.
Well, some of their victims, like Virginia
yeah.
Graff, she is actually the one who called out Prince Andrew to talk, because Prince Andrew, who's 8th in line to the throne, the Duke of York, he had a very close relationship with Epstein. He flew in his private jets. He stayed in his mansions. After Epstein's 2008, lawsuit with him allegedly with young girls, he actually went to New York to break off, quote unquote, their friendship with Epstein. But he stayed with him for several days. And in the interview, when he interviewed with BBC, the reporter says, well, why did you stay there? And his response was, well, it was just a convenient place to stay. Really? The Duke of York? Like, you're the Duke. You're 8th in line to the throne, and you can't rent a fucking hotel?
Can I add to that? Even when what was it that he's called Epstein?
His bestie?
No.
Oh, no. He says, well, his behavior was unbecoming.
Who fucking talks like that when it's a child?
An English
At the
man,
same time,
apparently.
he was like, his behavior was unbecoming, but I don't regret our friendship. I met a lot of people, and it was very beneficial for, like,
Prince
he-
pedo.
And he didn't correct himself until the reporter said unbecoming. He was a child.
He was a sex offender.
He's a sex offender, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just being fucking polite." He's a sex. No, fuck off. You're not being polite.
He stayed in his mansions where supposedly these underage trafficking rings were happening for days. There's been several pictures of him with the victim that is calling him out. And one of his other excuses was, well, she said that I was sweating profusely, and I have had a medical condition
How
where
convenient.
I didn't sweat, but now I sweat. Like, that just sounds so fishy. This whole interview was a bad idea.
And he's stuttering the whole fucking time.
It was such a bad idea that his PR person resigned before he did it.
Good.
They knew it was good for them.
I told you. Epstein didn't kill himself.
And his friends are slimy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
so they still haven't said, his
Probably
brother
should've.
disappeared real quick. Epstein's brother, he just pretty much disappeared and took over all of Epstein's stuff.
So he had a brother.
Hmm?
I don't even know about this.
Exactly.
He did a good
Tinfoil
job.
had time. He's the mastermind of it all.
And,
Nah, Epstein probably was, and then his brother just inherited it from him.
and
Yeah.
didn't ABC actually know about this first, like in 2008, 2009?
So that was some of the article, an
2013.
article I was looking at. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly who, but they've been called out, and they're looking at into investigating ABC.
Well, DOJ is paying attention to a lot of different, this case very closely, especially with like foreign relations.
Because this person had some really high connections, and this is really getting into certain people's doorsteps that don't
The
want
Clintons,
It's coming.
Trump.
I'm waiting.
You know what I
Trump
think?
I think Trump's made a big enough deal, though. He'll be clear.
You're so supportive.
Because no, I'm just saying. No, if you go back since 2015, Trump's been throwing Epstein and Bill Clinton under the bus.
Yeah.
So I don't think he would have been doing that.
they wouldn't let them into their treehouse, aka their trafficking ring.
Pretty much. They didn't. They wouldn't cut him in.
I'm gonna expose you.
Probably they wouldn't cut him in. But either way,
Yeah,
I don't think he would have put himself to be exposed into something that shady.
I mean, he even made the comment, watch out for those two. It's coming for them. They're going to have this coming to them. So he probably knew what was going on, but of course he can't say anything due to retributions that might have come across him.
Tinfoil hat time.
Tinfoil
idea.
hat time. Yeah,
Yeah.
tinfoil hat time.
Slime ball's a slime ball.
I believe the only reason
You're a
that this
politician.
hasn't fallen off the face of the earth and why it hasn't been swept under the rug is because everyone made it a meme.
Well, no, because nobody believes Epstein killed himself. Honestly, I ask people just randomly, because people bring up the memes, and I go, honestly, do you think he killed himself? No. We've all seen Orange is the New Black. Supposedly, he killed himself how Tasty was trying to kill herself. That's how he supposedly killed himself.
It's not plausible.
Jeez.
At all?
No, like, it's possible. That's why it's not plausible for in his situation that he was in. It's not plausible that he killed himself.
Sorry, I'm still kind of reeling from that spoiler. I haven't caught up with the newer season.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. It's okay. It's been out for a while.
No.
It's been out for a while.
I've never seen Orange is the New. Well, I've
She
seen
liked it.
episodes.
I liked it.
I thought it was good.
Well,
Off
I mean,
and on.
They
you
did a
kind of
nice
figured it
wrap-up.
was coming eventually because she was, convicted murder.
Yeah.
Like, she's never getting out. That was the end of the season before that. Don't look at me.
It's fine.
Yeah, she was the ringleader for the prison riot.
Spoilers, Mark
Oh
has
my
his-
God.
What?
What?
That's
There's
like-
a riot?
It's like people who are just like Game of Thrones ruined for me, and they're like not even on season 1. It's the end of the season, the finale. It's like you haven't even invested your time.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw a few episodes of Game of Thrones. Like I saw the episode of where in the snow where the one of the dragons gets killed, or the first dragon gets killed.
Spoiler.
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 And like I saw that way before I started actually watching it, like watching the entire series. So I knew what was coming.
Did you see the part where he was killed and then resurrected?
Yes, I did actually. I
Yeah.
saw when he was resurrected, and like so when he died, I'm like, oh, I know he's coming back. But it still fucking blew my mind that he died like that. Like, oh shit! Like
So intense.
it was still cool. You can still enjoy it.
So, were you more upset about how, because what was the first dragon's name?
Dragon.
No.
Drogon.
Drogon's the one she rides.
Viserion.
Ares in Viserys, right?
Oh, Viserys, yeah.
What was her dad's name? Because
Rogan. Rhaegar.
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 Yeah, Rhaegar. Okay. So Viserys is the one the Night King takes. So were you more sad about Viserys or Rhaegon?
Rhaegon.
Rhaegon.
Oh
Because
my
Rhaegon
God,
was just
it's-
fucking out of nowhere.
Right, like they were just flying all happy, and it's just.
Oh, yeah.
Bitch, you
It
did.
was so sad.
And then just fucking, it just destroyed all those boats. Drogon just like, fuck you.
Yeah, that was a big thing. It was like, why were they able to pretty much pinpoint Rhaegon, but Drogon they couldn't hit with a broadside of the barn?
Yeah.
I think it's just because, she was
Plot
coming in
armor.
at such a high altitude.
I'm
Plot
thinking
armor.
it's because plot armor and yeah, it's probably mostly plot
Yeah.
armor. There's no way I'm all thinking like, well, maybe it was because they weren't prepared for it to be shot at, and now they are.
But even when she's coming down to attack King's Landing, there's so many scorpions there. They're on the boat. You know what I mean? There's so many more scorpions there than there were when Rhaegon was killed. So how could they not? I would understand if maybe Drogon had like in the tail. You know what I mean? A non-mortally wounded. But if he was wounded in some way, it would have made more sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like maybe if it went through his wing and left a hole, and then it became kind of a thing.
Well, he was wounded for a minute there. I thought he was gonna die at the Night King raid.
Yeah.
Dude.
I didn't think he was going to make it out.
As always, guys, thank you for listening to the NAKE'd podcast. We hope you enjoyed what you heard today. If you have any comments and you want to talk to us, you reach out to us at OG_the NAKE'd pod. You know what's cool too? Tacos, coffee, and supporting small creators. Find us on Patreon at officialmillennials.com. You can also find links to our Discord and Mixer in the description below. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Peace out.
Toodles.